If you can't take care of yourself, you can't help others. Survivalbytraining.com.
Okay, so a little bit of background here as we walk to the spot that was marked for me to do my 3-day solo. It's about -7 degrees Celsius today at the high point. It's probably about -12 now because we're kind of in the morning. It's snowing, which is good because we get lots of fresh snow to get water with, but not great because if I go to cut trees down to make my shelter, I'm gonna get covered in snow. So that flagging tape that we just passed was for Sean and his spot. So I need to get to my spot. It's a big rock right there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but okay, so here is my spot. Let's have a look around. See what we're dealing with. Okay. Okay, while I look for a spot to build a fire, build my shelter, I'm going to put down my backpack so that I'm not wasting any energy carrying it around. Some deer tracks through here, which could be good or could be bad. Lots of rabbit sign, which is nice for snaring. Okay, so I'm going to set my bag down right here. So I'm planning on building a lean-to shelter. Which means I'm going to need to get 2 trees that are in a kind of open area so that if we build the shelter or a signal, it can be seen from the air so we can get rescued in a survival situation. So I'm just looking for trees that I can use. I wonder if somebody was baiting bears here. So that's kind of what it looks like. Oh, tree stand there. Nice. That's exactly what was going on. Okay, well, there's no bears now. It could be good. Okay, so other things to keep in mind too. We'll need birch bark for starting fires. Also, we need lots of deadfall for firewood. So we're gonna have to have a fire going pretty much all night. Also, I can use this tree here to put another cross member across so I can block the trailer. Keep the wind out. This way is east, which means this way is south. We're talking about the sun right now, so ideally we want the opening of our shelter to face south so that we can collect the most sunlight during the day, heat it up the most because it's cold out. Rabbit tracks here. Okay. Decent amount of firewood around here as well. Might be a decent amount of deadfall. Too many dead standing trees, which is kind of unfortunate. But it is what it is sometimes. It's a good rabbit around there. Okay, so I picked my shelter site. Right, so first aid, I'm gonna have a look around here and see what could potentially hurt me if it falls. So this right here could potentially cause some injury. That tree there I'll probably cut down just to be safe. That one should be okay. So I'm just gonna go around here and push over a bunch of trees. Okay, I think that's the only ones that were really bad and pressing. Yeah, it should be good there. Okay, let's go get some birch bark. Okay, so perfect. This isn't too far from camp for my home, and there's a couple more dead standing trees. And there's actually a dead birch there too, so perfect. There's another dead one just over there. Okay, so let's collect some of this, and we'll use this to get our fire going. Okay, so I'm gonna put this. I think we'll start our fire over here. The shelter will be facing this way, which is kind of east, southeast, which is not super ideal, but it's okay. The north here, the wind is here. Sorry, the wind here is typically from the north, northwest, so my shelter will kind of be parallel, if not facing away from the wind, which might be okay. We'll find out when we do it. So I'm just going to build the shelter, or sorry, the fire here, I think. I'll put my bush down here, right there. Now we need to collect a bush bundle. It's called, so basically on the bottom of the fir trees, and the spruce and the pine trees, sometimes they get this kind of branches and they're dead. But this makes excellent fire because it's the small wood and then the large wood, so I'll collect a bunch of this stuff. We'll start with this. Okay, so I got my birch bark here, my bush bundle. Now I need to get some thicker sticks here that I can add to kind of get the fire going, so I'll use these guys. Later on, we're not going to want to really break or saw any of the wood. We don't want to process any wood. If we're processing wood, we're basically wasting calories. We only have 1,200 for the 3 days. It'll be pretty important that we kind of minimize our energy expenditure as much as possible. Obviously, we're burning a lot out here. It's winter time. You know, we're gonna be cutting trees down, moving trees around, building a shelter. But yeah, but minimize the calories as much as possible, and then we should be okay. Okay. So, got our spot for the fire. Now let's go about building the fire. Fire, just about good to go. So, I will take my lighter. Bing bam. It's orange, so that if I drop it, I don't lose it. And light the birch bark. Nice, okay. All right. So now we got fire, we got first aid, right? We can think about some water. Woohoo! So for water, right, important on the survival pattern. First aid, fire, shelter signals, water, then food. So make sure you stay hydrated, it's important. Because if you start getting dehydrated, it's kind of the catalyst for other injuries. Okay, so something we can do in the wintertime with our water bottle is, since water freezes from the top down in the water bottle, we can if we want to prevent it or at least prolong it from freezing, we take it, we put it in the snow like that, kind of lid down. The top will freeze before the lid will freeze. And then when we go to open the bottle, the lid won't be frozen, we can still use it. So, something you keep in mind. Also though, now we have our fire going. I'm gonna put my bottle like this here, close to the fire, and it'll heat it from this end. But we don't want to put it too close, right? Because I got a plastic lid on it. Also, we don't want the water in here to necessarily boil, because then it could pop the lid off, and we don't want to melt the lid. So keep it a good distance away. We just want to keep it warm. The water in there is clean right now. When we go to melt snow later, we'll probably have to boil it in the bottle to make sure it's safe to drink. Okay, so with our fire going, our shelter spot picked, it's time to actually start building our shelter. We'll have to get some signals up too right away, right? So that if anything comes by, if aircraft comes by or something, you know, we're not left with our pants down and we can get rescued. But, okay, so for the shelter, we're gonna need about 7 to 10 fir trees here, just like this one right here, to start building our shelter. So basically we'll have to cut them down, trim them up, and then we can use that for our shelter poles. So there's quite a few in this area here. We need one for a ridge pole that needs to be probably about, I don't know, 3 inches in diameter to 5 inches in diameter. Somewhere in there would probably be pretty damn good. So this one right here is pretty good. So I'm going to cut down this tree and use it for my shelter. So here we go. All right, tree down. Okay, so now I have to bring it back. Well, I could process it here, but I'm going to process it a little bit closer to my shelter spot. That way I don't have to drag the boughs as far. So let's do that. Okay. Fire's still going good. Okay, so now we have to trim all the branches off this guy. Okay, so good idea is to not cut the ridgepole too short. I've seen that happen a lot. People will cut it. Generally, you want to leave it the length, whatever it is, cut, so that when you go to, you want to leave it the length it is. So when you put it up, you don't cut it too short by accident. But this one is really long, so I'm going to trim it up a little bit, but I'm not going to do it. I'm really not going to do it too much, just a little bit. Okay, so this is my trimmed ridge pole. Make sure it's right size. Perfect. Okay, so now I need to get out my 550 cord. Okay, so this is the 550 cord. Take it. This is way more than I'll need. So I'm going to take it, cut it in half. My knife. On the back of my knife I have some too. Also, if I drop it in the snow, the orange, you can see it. Okay, so once I have this cut, I'm going to take it and I'll remove the inner cordage. So this is what I'm going to use to bind my shelter together after, but this is what I'm going to use to put my ridgepole up. So I want to keep this. I'm just going to set it here, beside the camera. We got one. And we'll do the other one as well. Inner cordage, set on a branch, and the 550 cord. Okay, now I'm gonna get you guys onto my head so you can see what's going on. Okay, so now I need to get my ridgepole up. So I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that there's a little branch here that's honestly about the height that I want my shelter. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I hope you can. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it here, make sure I got enough space on the other side. Looks good. So I'll make the jam knot. So to do that, I'll take my 550 cord. I'll make a knot. Hope you guys can see that. Just a regular overhand knot. Tie it tight, and then I'll make another overhand knot right here. Now I will take my 550 cord, I'm going to feed it around, put this guy through the hole, just like this. And now I can wrench this tight. And the two knots, hope you guys can see that, will bind up against each other. And I'll go as tight as I can. And then I can lock it in place with another overhand knot here. So if I go like this. Okay, so that should theoretically go nowhere. Okay, so now we gotta do the other side. This side will be a little bit more interesting because we have to hold the pole up, but it should be okay. Okay, so I'll make my overhand knot and then my hole. Hold this guy up. Feed you through. Ideally this bites into the bark of the tree so that we really don't get any movement. But I might try to put it a little higher. Now to lock it in place again, I'll do what I just did on the last one and make another overhand knot. There. All right. Okay, there's my ridge pole. Up. Nice and solid. Not going anywhere. So what I'll do now, I'm gonna leave this, usually we cut it off flush with the tree here. But I'm gonna leave it a little bit, that way I can hang gear on it and stuff to dry. Oh, sorry, excuse me, to dry. So I think I'm gonna take it about right here. Okay, nice. And how are we looking on this side? Okay, this one, I think I'm also gonna take some off of it. It's pretty long. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but these are little sap bubbles. So what you can do with these, if you get in a situation you get a cut or something, you can just put this sap on it. It's kind of like super glue or crazy glue, and it'll help bind the cut together. It also has antiseptic properties, so it helps stave off infection as well. So good to know that's there. You can also use it to start a fire. It's really flammable. So. All right, shelter complete. Just kidding, we still have to build it. All right, so now I'll have to put up the tarp, and then once we have the tarp up, we can go ahead with the main spars. So, but I'm gonna go tend to the fire. Okay. So, for my tarp, nice, there's a hole in it. Okay, so a bunch of these eyelets are ripped out here, so I'm gonna make that the top piece. I need to find the seam. Okay, so here's the seam of the tarp. So this is gonna go on the ground. This eyelet we're gonna put here for now. And this one we're gonna put right here. Okay, so that's how we're gonna set the tarp. Obviously I need to tie it to my ridgepole, so that's where these guys come in handy. Wow, this one I kind of got lucky, there's a branch there, so I'm just gonna keep that like that for now. And I'm gonna tie this one. I will have to go under, so maybe I'll bring this in. Since when we flip the tarp over, the other part will go on top of it, if that makes sense. Might not right now, but it will in a bit. Okay. zipper ties. I just made a hole, like I made a loop on the string through, just like that. And then I'll go around with it. And then I'll take this one. Go around again. And this one will go around just like this. Apply a square knot, so right over left. And then left over right. I really hope the camera's picking this up. If not, I'm really sorry. Okay, nice. That's that one. Sappy. Okay, so this is the log I picked here. I cut it a little bit just to bring down the size a small amount. It was a little big, but it's dead, so I didn't have to chop it down, which was nice. So I kind of fluffed my tarp out a bit there. I hope you guys can see that. So what I'm gonna do now is take this log, and there's a seam in the tarp here. I'm gonna lay it across that seam. Just like that. So usually, and I want it to be tight. I'll get some of the cross members put in here so you guys can see, and then after that we can start finishing up the lean-to, and then we can put our bed in. Okay, so I changed the angle up on the camera. Hopefully you guys can see the build better. Okay, so now I gotta build my bough bed and put my sitting log down. So for the sitting log, I need a pretty decent sized log. It'll go from this tree here across to that tree. And then once I have that in place, I can put all my boughs into my bed, and I'll have a nice comfy bed to spend the night tonight. Get that guy out of the way. Okay, so for a sitting log, I need to find something I can use. I was thinking about this log right here, but I'm not sure. This one right here would be better. But it's kind of snowy, so I pushed over this one earlier, and it seems like it's the perfect size. Hopefully it's not too heavy. Oh no, it's really good. Look at that, perfect fit. Nice. Okay, so now I got the sitting log. I can start putting the boughs inside my shelter. So to do that, I just grab a bough, just like this, and concaved. It's concaved. I'm not sure if you guys can see that on the camera, but that side faces down, and I'll stick the pointy stick ends into the corners so that they don't poke me at night. So I just stick them in here like that. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of them. So I will see you guys back here when I'm done that. Okay, so the moment of truth, we're gonna have a little seed in it. These one quick release snowshoe bindings are pretty great. Just one binding, just pull, and then take them off. And your snowshoe just comes off. No need to do multiple bindings or anything like that. But the moment of truth. Oh. It's pretty good. Pretty comfy. Good, nice shelter, sitting down. Oh, looking out. So yeah. We will call it here, and I'll get the fire moved to in front of the shelter so we can start heating the shelter up. Nice and comfy. Okay, now that we got the fire started here, I'm just going to work on making some snares, and then we'll go set them up right away. So I'll be right back. Alright, I grabbed my water from at the other fire here, so I'll keep it by the shelter now. It should stay going through the wood. Okay, so now we're gonna make some snares. This is the survival can you get when you take the course. Gives you some garbage bags, some signaling devices, glow sticks to mark your shelter, a candle to stay warm, and most importantly, some snare wire. Okay, so I think this is pre-cut already, which is good for us. So, we're gonna make some rabbit snares. So here's how we're gonna do it. First we need to grab a stick. It's a good stick right here. Okay, then with the wire, I'm gonna go ahead and make a little loop. Just like that. Could be a little better. But we'll say it's good enough. Hopefully you guys can see that. Okay, I'm gonna put my stick in here. I'm gonna pinch this off here with my gloves. And I'm just gonna twist this. Okay, so what you're looking for here, the camera will focus. Anyways, what you're looking for is you want the wire to bend over each other. That way if you catch a rabbit or something, it doesn't just pull the wire off. And you can go ahead and feed it through. Just like that. So there we go, that's a snare. Just like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a bunch of these, and then we'll go set them up. Fire's going, snares are made. I got some flagging tape, so we'll go find some spots here to set some rabbit snares, and hopefully we can catch a rabbit for dinner. So we're looking for a rabbit run or rabbit tracks. So over here, there's pretty good tracks. So this would be good. However, it's way too close to our shelter. The shelter's right there. So we'll have to go further out. Alright, I think we'll use this spot right here. I'll need to collect a drag pole for the snare, so I'm going to go do that right now, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got some drag poles cut. Ideally you'd want to use birch, but there's no thin birch within eyesight of me right now, so I'm going to just use, I believe this is poplar. Okay, so here's the run right here. It's going through here, so we kind of need to funnel the rabbit in. So I'm going to cut these guys off this pine tree. So now I'll take one of my snares. This one, I'll put this one, these guys back. I'll grab one of my drag poles. I'm gonna twist this on. Sure it's tight, because if it's not, it could get pulled off. So the size that I have it as the snare right now is actually pretty good. I wanted about a fist size. Not sure if you guys can see that snare there, but I'm gonna have to move it a little bit. Well, that's pretty good. So once I have it in position there, make sure that the rabbit is kind of forced into that little hole. I will grab a stick. That's the chopstick. Put it there, that way the rabbit lifts his head before he goes into the snare. So that's the general premise. I'm going to work on making this a little bit nicer, and I'll come back to you guys when it's done. Okay, there. So the snare's right there, so hopefully the rabbit follows this path and goes into the snare. We're going to set a couple more here, and we'll go through it. Okay, so I just got back to camp after setting the snares. I'm going to take a break for a bit here, sit down, maybe have one of my bars that I brought for the 1200 calories, and then after that we'll get going on some signals, and then after the signal stuff I'll have to collect more firewood for the night and then get ready for the night. So we need to do some signals as well. We haven't done that yet, but we have to be able to get the rescuers' attention. So like if we're lost, right, and they're looking for us, we want to be able to get people's attention. So go big and go home, right? So we're looking for things with color, contrast, right? So especially like on snow, black stuff looks really noticeable. At nighttime, light is good, right? Fire. At daytime, we can do smoke, and we can be seen. But right now, I'm just gonna put on my snowshoes. I was walking around without them, and it the ground isn't quite ready for it yet. Okay, so for signals, we need to go big and go home, right? So in our situation here, we're lost. We're hoping that a rescuer will find us. We need to somehow get their attention, right? Because they could fly over us, they could walk by us and not even know we're here. So a start is the tarp, right? The blue tarp has lots of contrast, so you should be able to see that. It's like from the sky, but we're in the kind of the denser woods. I tried to pick a clearing for the shelter. It's hard to see, so that it would be a little bit easier to see from the sky if an aircraft flew over, but it's still tough. Another good signal is the fire, so it produces light and smoke, right? So you can see the smoke going up there, which can be seen, but it's not very much smoke, so we need to be able to make more smoke if we want to really get noticed. Some other stuff we can do, some really makeshift ones, is we got this orange garbage bag in our survival kit. So I can use this as like a flag, right? So I can set this up using one of the trees I cut down earlier for using the shelter. So I'll use this guy right here. And I'll just go on here and I'll basically just tie it off. The gloves will probably get in the way. And, so it's right at the top. Okay. Put it back on. So, now we have a flag, essentially, which will be useful. So if someone was to come by, right, on an aircraft, we could wave the flag. This also has movement, right, and it's colorful. Orange, not really a lot of orange in the boreal forest in the wintertime, maybe in the fall. But right now it stands out pretty good. It contrasts well. So I'll leave this here. Hopefully you guys saw that. I'm gonna stick it in the ground right here, and there, we got a nice nice flag. It's not windy right now, so it's not waving, but hopefully if the wind picks up, we'll be able to get some movement on it as well. You can see the garbage bag through the bush there. Does a pretty good job of standing out in the trees. While I was out looking for birch bark here, I've just been flagging the trail. But in case you guys don't know, something you can do with flagging tape, if you need to keep it from like unrolling in your pocket, you just quickly melt the side and then press it onto itself, and now it's good. Little tip for you. So we have the fire, like I said earlier. What we really need to do is make smoke for the daytime. So we have all these boughs left over from when we were making our shelter. So we can use these to our advantage, and we can make a smoke generator. To make the smoke generator, I kind of need to pick a spot where there's not too much else around that's super flammable. So this seems like an okay spot. There's a tree here, but I'm going to use this tree right here. So I'm going to go around here with my snowshoes and just kind of pack it so that I can get around easier. This tree here is alive and well, so it should be fine. Okay, so to get started on this, what we have to do is we have to first cut essentially the top off. I'm gonna cut it, I think, right here. This will be a bit of a smaller one, but we got lots of boughs, so we should be able to make a pretty good smoke. Like that. I think what I am gonna do with it is stick it in here. Okay, so now what we have to do is we need to break the branches and essentially turn them into little shelves, because we're going to put a bunch of birch bark and a bunch of bush bundles in here, so that when we light it, it goes up like basically like it's gasoline. So we'll have to break all these branches over and make a shelf. This tree's a little sparse, which is unfortunate, but it should be fine. So my primary spot I'll probably be putting everything is somewhere in this level. Something else that's also super important for this, and I forgot to mention it earlier, but it's close to my shelter. So my shelter's right there, the smoke generator's right here. That means if I hear something like an aircraft or I hear somebody coming, searching for me, I can really quickly get up out of my shelter and get to the smoke generator. But I think this will work. It's definitely not the prettiest one, but it should do just fine. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to collect birch bark and a bunch of bush bundles. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you guys back here when I get that done. Okay, this should be probably enough birch bark. The tree is full of bush bundles. This one here is that. Our tree is full of bush bundles and birch bark. So now is essentially to use the boughs that we already have there. We'll bring them over and we'll weave them into this tree, and then that'll be our smoke generator. Okay, so I'm pretty much all out of boughs on the ground over there. This is not good enough, I don't think. We need more. So it's starting to get dark though, and I want to shore up my firewood supply before it gets dark, and then it kind of starts getting dangerous to walk around in the bush because pokey in the eye. So I'm gonna say that this is good enough for now, and I'm gonna go collect a bunch more firewood. I guess this is all we got. Okay, so like I was just saying, we collected a bunch of firewood here. Hopefully it'll last us the night. I think it will. But if not, I guess we can always go out and get some more if we need to. So now the night is just going to consist of tending the fire, keeping water boiling here, and try to dry out some of my gear. So hopefully I can do that. All right, talk to you guys in a bit. All right, got the fire going here. Drying all the boots, trying to make sure we don't get any sparks on anything. As we get a bunch of sparks. Fire's really hot. I will be watching this closely for the next probably hour, trying to dry everything off. Talk to you guys in a bit. Fire's raging. Boots are kind of dry. I'm just gonna get set up here, and then we're off to bed. So hopefully I'll. That's bright. This is on too. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the morning after a good night's sleep. Let's go. All right, we're all tucked in. It is 9:30 p.m. Hoping to wake up around 6. Sure I'll be up multiple times before that, stoking up the fire and making sure all is well. But, yeah, see you guys in the morning.
If you can't take care of yourself, you can't help others. Survivalbytraining.com